Hello, my friends, and welcome to our blending lesson today. Today is December 10th, and it's Unit 2, Week 6, which is all review. We're going to be working on everything that we've learned so far in first grade. So as always, make sure you're focused, participating. Make sure you really practice to help you own all the words, all those skills. All right, let's start with high frequency words. Walk, around, many, by, her, day, place, call, want, all, know, who, eat, of, under, 3, 1, live, then, could, use, knew, there, help, again. Beautiful, thank you so much. All right, first word, 10, your turn. Ta, 10. T says ta. E says N says ta, 10. So any word, you can use your stretchy snake. The first sound will be your shoulder sound. That middle sound would be your elbow sound. And the last sound would be your wrist sound. So in this word, ta, 10. Excellent. Next word. Bread. Your turn. D. Bread. B-R, b-er, so you put them together. Burr. Remember, E and A can make that sound, so burr, D says da, burr, ed, bread. Next word, head, your turn. D, head. So we're going to take bread and we're going to turn it into head by replacing the burr and adding a h. So what letter makes h? Yes, an H. Thank you so much. I saw some lips moving, even saw a hand. Thank you. E and A, D says da, ed, head. Next word. Sled. Your turn. Sol, d. Sled. There's one of those L blends. S-L, sol, sol. E says sol, And D says da, sol, ed, sled. So bread, head, sled, they all rhyme because they have that ed at the end. Now in bread and head, it's spelled differently, but it's still the same sound, the sound. All right, next word. Sat. Your turn. Sat. S says s. A says a. T says ta. At, sat. Next word. Get. Your turn. Ga. Get. G says ga. E says T says ta. Ga. Et. Get. Next word. Yelled. Your turn. Ya. Old. Yelled. Y says ya. E says Two L's, we just double up on that o. Ya. O. Yell. So if we want to talk about how we did this, how we yelled, in the past, like it already happened, then we have to add an ed. So you'd still blend it the same, just as we did before we wrote the word. Old, yelled. Next word. Puffed. Your turn. Puffed. Puffed. P says pa. U says a. Two F's. We'll double up on that f. Puff. So if I huffed and I puffed, I'm going to say that I did that yesterday, in the past. So if you are puffed, you have to add an ed, just like we just blended it before we wrote the word. Puffed. So you see this word, you still blend it exactly the same. Next word. Truck. Your turn. Truck. T-R, tur. Put those two together. T and tur. U says tur, C and K says truck. Next word. Drum. Your turn. Drum. D-R, you put those two together. Dur. U says M says drum. Next word. Skill. Your turn. Skill. SK, ska. We can put those two sounds together. Ska. I says two L's, ska, skill. And last word. Stuff. Your turn. Stuff. ST, stuff. U says stuff. And two F's at the end. We just double up on that stuff. Excellent. Thank you if you've been participating. I noticed. Let's go ahead and we'll read our board. 10, bread, head, sled. Your turn. Thanks so much. Sat, get, yelled, puffed. Your turn. Thank you. Truck, drum, skill, stuff. Your turn. Wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and do a sentence. B says ba, capital B, beginning of a sentence. We are experts at that. U says ba. D says da, bud. So now there's two reasons that this word is capitalized. Now, it's a name. We know it's capitalized because it was the beginning of a sentence. Bud is a name, it's a person, it's a noun. So it is going to have a capital letter. H says ha. U says two F's, we just double up on that f. Ha. huff. Bud huff. That does not sound right. I need to add an ED so that, number one, it makes sense in our sentence. It sounds right. But also, it happened in the past. Huffed. Huffed. Bud huffed. High frequency word and. He says puh. You says two F's. Double up on the f. Puh. Puff. Bud huffed and puff. That does not sound right. Since he huffed in the past, then he is also going to puff in the past, which is an ED. So you still blend the word puffed, puffed. Bud huffed and puffed. High frequency word as. High frequency word he. R says A says ah. N says n, an, ran. High frequency word up. High frequency word the. H says huh. I says I. Two L's, double up on that ol. Ha, I, ol, hill. Excellent. That's kind of a long sentence. Let's go ahead and read that. Bud huffed and puffed as he ran up the hill. Your turn. Wonderful. So we do need some punctuation as always. So thumb up or thumb down. Could it be a question mark? Nope, it could not be a question mark. It does not have an answer. It's not asking a question. Bud huffed and puffed as he ran up the hill. That's a statement. It's a telling sentence. So it is going to have a period. This wouldn't really be the kind of sentence where you would use an exclamation point, but depending on how you choose to say it, you could use an exclamation point. All right, so let's talk about nouns. So we know that a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So our first noun, just like we said when we were writing it, gave you a little hint. Bud, he's a person, he's the name in this sentence. Puffed and puffed as he ran up the hill. Okay, so I know that hill is a place, so that has to be a noun. The word he is a pronoun. Remember, a pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. So in this sentence, the word bud, that is the noun. That's who this sentence is about. Bud huffed and puffed as he ran up the hill. So the he is Bud. So I could just take this word bud and put it here also. Bud huffed and puffed as Bud ran up the hill. Now that doesn't quite, it's correct, but it doesn't quite sound right. There's a better way to say that, and we use pronouns so that it sounds better. All right, let's do verbs. We started talking about verbs a little bit. So remember, a verb is an action. It's something that you can do. Kick, run, hop, swim. All of those words are verbs. So in this sentence, the verb is what Bud does. So Bud huffed. That's a verb. That's something that he does. That's an action. Puffed. That is a verb. That is something that Bud does. Ran. That is also a verb. It is something that Bud does. Let's read the sentence once more. Bud huffed and puffed as he ran up the hill. Thank you so much. If you were focused and participating the entire time, I appreciate it.